Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me today for this session. I wanted to do a release session for you guys as well as for myself, and I wanted to do it together. So I thought that this could be a really special session. I am a walk-in soul. I am Samara Andara, and I walked into this body and fully integrated into this body. I fully integrated on January 11th, 2026, but I was ascended down from the stars, from Orion and the Galactic Leaders of Light, the Galactic Federation of Light, on Universal Boulevard, off of Destination Parkway in Orlando. And I fully integrated on January 11th, but I'm also a shamaness. I'm a clairvoyant visionary. I'm a HSP, a highly sensitive person. If you don't know what that is, sensitivity is not a weakness, it is a gift. And I have many telepathic powers, as well as clairsentience, which is psychic feeling, claircognizance, psychic knowing, telepathic, premonitions, clairvoyancy, clairaudience, as well as psychic hearing. And I also use beautiful herbs to heal. With my teas, my bath teas, my candles. I am a creatrix and an enchantress. I can create and put my enchantments and my powers within. And I am a love goddess, a fertility goddess, as when I was younger. I also am a goddess of truth and light, and I am a starseed incarnate. And I'm so much more, but right now my focused intention is to share this ritual of releasing and cutting cords from any type of archonic projections. So I have turmeric here, I have tarragon. These are herbs for releasement. I also have ground sage, bay leaves, lavender, some cloves for protection, as well as they're all sprinkled on a bed of lavender. So I just want to set the intention, release me and release my viewers and anyone who's watching, my subscribers. Please subscribe. Release us from any types of past arguments, past manipulations, projections from narcissists, any sweet talkers that kind of hooked us in and influenced, and we really knew, but we were confused because they were so manipulative. Which there's so many evil energy manipulators out there, negative energy manipulators, and we have to unhook ourselves. So with the lighting of these herbs, I now release myself from all of these spiritual attachments of manipulation, as well as from any archonic hooks, any witchcraft, any reptilians, and any type of narcissistic abuse. I release myself from being controlled by others, being controlled by reptilians, being controlled by alpha draconians. I release myself from their hooks over my life and their control over my life. I release myself from the 9 to 5, from the matrix. I release myself from the reptilians in the matrix. I release myself from being a targeted individual to where several reptilian archons like to plug into my energy and make me out to be someone I'm not, or influence me in some sort of way to try to pull me down and blind my light and blind my gifts to mankind. I now am free, and I release myself from their narratives, and I release myself from their 3D matrix. So just set the intention. You could even do your own intentions as the smoke blows. I release myself from the projected expectations from my reptilian mother, or my boss, or my manager, or my coach at work, who their stress and their tension. I release myself from this. I release myself from this timeline of manipulation and coerciveness, of thinking I have to be in the 9 to 5 matrix, or the 3 to 11 matrix, or that I have to work for somebody and I have to dim my gifts and I don't get to do what I want every day just for a paycheck, just to pay bills? Do you really think that you were born to get up and work and pay bills for the rest of your life and then die? Do you really think that that's your purpose? Or do you have a deeper purpose? Do you have a passion for music, a love for, a gift for guitar playing? Are you an artist that is just waiting to come out of your shell and just spread your gifts and your art? Are you a sculpturist? Do you want to get out of your 9-to-5? Are you upset or miserable in your job? I'm here to help you transmute all of this and all of these pent-up energies, release them for you, and transmute all of that up to the surface so we can live our best lives and shine in our origin essence and be ourselves. It is time to wake up. It is time to come out of the expectations of your mother or your nephew or your sister or your baby mom or your husband or your wife. And it's time for you to stand up and to bloom and to bask in that essence energy of who you truly are. My energy is not for everyone. I am not for everyone. Be the glitch in the matrix. Be the god that you are. Be the goddess. Shine your light. Shine your talents. Be truthful. Stand in integrity. So it's time to truly release with the burning of these bay leaves. I release myself from any timelines or any projections of what others expect me to do that truly does not align with my soul or my desires or my soul's true path. I release myself from the projections and any narcissistic or narcopathic, abusive coercions, forcing me to do something I don't want to do, something that doesn't feel right but I have to do. I now release myself from their hooks and their projections. I release myself and my energy is free to now be and vibe exactly of the origins and the essences of who I truly am. And I release anything or anyone who does not serve or align with my soul's true purpose. I release myself from all the external projections, all the toxicity, all the abuse, and all of the hooks from the Archonic influence of their 3D matrix. I release myself. I am free. I am free and you are free. Just take a deep breath and just relax and release. I'm going to say release. I release myself from the false narratives of me. I release myself from all timelines across all dimensions, past lives, current life, from any karmic retribution or karmic ties. I've learned my lessons and I honor these lessons with love, and I release them now and I'm free of it. And I can create myself and be the co-creator or the creator of my life. Because I am a god, I am a goddess. I release myself from any toxicity, any codependent connection, whether it's my work boss or my sister or my nephew or my mother, and I release now all of their projections onto me, all of their psychic attacks, all of the energy vampire hooks, all the archons, the targeted individual siphoning from my energy cords, and I am free, and my energy is protected. Release. Release. And feel it deep in your being. Feel it passionately in your soul. And take it all in, and then release. And now I want to light candles. Okay, Leo, I'm sorry, I can't let you out of the room, baby. It's my nephew's puppy. He's locked in the room. He went somewhere. I now release myself from the current timeline and any type of tensions, and I release myself from energy vampires and psychic attacks and spiritual attacks that have hooked into my chakras, my meridians, my energy centers, my physical vessel, and I am free. And so it is. I now release myself from any spiritual abuse, any archonic abuse, any type of archonic influences and influencing and their projections onto my life. I release myself from any targeted individual projections from archons, whether they're from dirty cops in a plaza, whether they're from rumors from Walmart floor associates who threw, black magic powders in my car when I was sleeping. Now I'm going to have you do your own intention. When I light this, light the intention of what you wish or who you wish to be released from. Now, think of it. I was attacked and targeted in a plaza, and I just remember needing a friend, and I transferred fully into this body, and I just remember both, we're going to call her Serena or Serana, we're going to call her, she was known as Samara Anaya, I am Samara Andara. She had different names in her star realm constellations. And so I remember Serana wanting a friend, and she tried to go into Walmart and make friends with some team leads and coaches. But there was African American girls and Jamaican and Haitian girls in there who they were driving by her car when she was living in it, and they were throwing Starbucks and McDonald's drinks, and they started targeting her and then making up rumors, and then it broke up her and her first boyfriend, and he kept coming to her car and asking her for favors, which she kept rejecting, and she was like, this is the boundary, we need to get a hotel, we need to go back to your place, I live in my car. And it was very awful because she just felt like she just needed someone that she could trust, someone like a good soul like her. And at first she thought that he was a good soul, but he turned out he had rings around his eyes, and every time she would sit in his black Passat, she saw these rings and they would glow. And he was reptilian, and he disguised it with working as Poseidon's son, and then he threw spells on her, these obsession spells, and then he would tell her, he would pull her in to the Walmart to where she wasn't acting herself, and she was such an empathic, compassionate, beautiful being, and there was so much passion in her, and she just wanted to live her best life with the person that she loved, and she wanted to go and take pictures, and she wanted to go and make love under the stars and kiss in the rain and go in the forest, and she wanted to just be. She wanted to be, and as she never lived before. And she wanted to inspire others, and she wanted others to live from their authentic truth, but not everyone felt this way, and she had such a big heart, and she just kept getting so taken advantage of, and everyone started spreading lies and rumors, and she just wanted a friend. And I just remember going to Walmart and asking for a coach in there, thinking that he would help me, or at least not help me, but listen to me. After the powders are being thrown in the car and she was getting gang stalked, there was this white man, and he came and said that she was being gang stalked, and he was from the hotel behind, and there was Jamaicans and Haitians throwing powders in her car. She was waking up with burn marks here. She had burn marks all over her breasts, and her shoulders, her shoulder blades, her back, and they were burning her. And then when she would try to tell the cops, there were crooked cops in the plaza who would basically laugh and dismiss her. So then she went across the street and tried to tell, she called the EMTs and the ambulance, and then she got attacked by more African American, black men, Haitians, and Jamaicans. And all of these people were trying to make her out to be like this sex worker who she wasn't, and trying to say all of these things about her. And then the crooked cops worked with the people in Denny's and set her up with her first boyfriend to where they tried to videotape her, and they were drugging her pancakes. They had people bringing her free food and putting GHB in her pancakes, which made her astral projections much stronger, as well on the astral planes from others come to her, and men physically asking her for favors, which she would dismiss. And it was so many rumors from the African American girls in Walmart and the Haitian women in Walmart, and they were giving her a hard time, and she was just trying to work at her job. So she had 2 jobs, and then take free-spirited photography pictures of nature, and she would walk out to Destination Parkway, and toward the very end, she had to live on a stairwell in Vista K condominiums off of Universal Boulevard across from that Publix. And this Jamaican man with dreads who was parked, he always parked by her car, he had one of his men follow her, and then they tried to assault her. So then she went out and she would take these long night walks to protect herself and stay awake and try not to sleep. And then she went to the McDonald's on I Drive, and she found like a mound of grass behind the Denny's over there, but like more like in front of this place where it was like the chocolates of the gods or something, and it was like by the McDonald's and the Denny's. But then these Archons, they had put an investigator on her from the undercover crooked cops, and they were sending these men with red tags on scooters to go and videotape her. And I know this sounds like paranoia, but she was getting gang stalked and followed to where they targeted her so much for her gifts and for her, abilities, and how they could never get her to go to jail into the system, and to the point where she had to sleep on the stairwells, and they were videotaping her and then making rumors, and to the point where they were all just ganging up on her in energy, and everyone saw her one way. And one time she went into Dollar Tree and she got attacked by this girl outside, and she tried to fake cry, but the gifts internally allowed her to see and feel and sense, okay, this is a con. So she kept walking, and then when she went into Dollar Tree, she saw her old ex-coworker who was dabbling into witchcraft, and her mother and her brother and her sister in witchcraft with one of her friends that stayed with them, but the friend was not there. He had taken off to Ohio and left. And so that person that she was with was jealous because she was trying to use magic on him, but he had left after he was with her. And she was just living her free-spirited best life, her last 6 months of her life. She was going through a free-spirited prime. She had gotten out of the thresholds of her ex-abusive baby father. Her children were with him. He was very abusive. He would throw her on the bed and just tackle her on the bed, and then her mother would watch, and then she would close the door and just let him, it was very bad. It was a physical abusive relationship, to where it was a trauma bond tie, to where her father, he had a lot of abusiveness, like the father who raised her, which was her biological father, who had Agent Orange. So she was acting from a trauma wound, but she also was crying for her soul, for her soul's ascension, and to be free from all of this pain and this abuse from people she was supposed to love and people who were supposed to care for her, but they betrayed her. Like her sister tried to sleep with her baby dad, and there was so much stuff. And then she was getting ganged up on by her nephews and like the Alpha Draconian influence. And then so she fled to the hotels, and then when she ran out of money, she got the jobs and moved into her car, but she was trying her best to keep her head above water and trying to make it out of the trenches. But then there was someone who came and assaulted her, and he knew some crooked cops in the plaza, and the crooked cops and that person from Denny's set her up with the Archon, her first boyfriend, in Walmart, the cashier, and they were trying to videotape her to get her to go to the system, and they even drugged her with GHB so they could try to take her daughters and put them in the system, but she passed the urine test because she didn't do the drugs. before in the very beginning. So she was targeted also by her nephew, who confused her spiritual gifts, which he very much knew, with psychosis, which was a lie, because she had Marchman acted his brother and Baker acted his mother. So to retaliate and to get that vengefulness, he lied and swore under oath under a judge, and that's why she was hospitalized. So all of these things made her go out to a plaza and live in her car. She was attacked and targeted and just very much trying and to be in survival mode. She even had taken her baby and her kids to a rescue mission, but they were Archonic in there, and she was getting sick. She was working down in the kitchen, receiving this expired food. They give homeless people expired foods. This was before she started to live in the car in the plaza, when her own blood family attacked her, and her ex-mother-in-law and her mother formed an alliance to get the kids taken away, and they kept calling all of these false reports on her, to the point where she just got her check that she was waiting for, and she bought the first car that she could. And she had endured so much, but the angelics were around her, because she was not just only a starseed and not just only an incarnated goddess, which yes, but she was also an angel incarnate. And if you're an angel incarnate, you have one of the most hardest journeys, and I just want to say keep going. I want to say keep pushing through, keep persevering. And I want to say always keep your head up above water and always move forward. And in your darkest days, you will find yourself and your soul, and you're never alone. And you could ask your spirit guardian animals to protect you, which I want to bring my spirit guardian, one of my original spirit guardians. I want to bring him in now. So if you excuse me, I'm going to get him. He is my spirit guardian, my wolf. My wolf guide has been with me for many, many lifetimes and many years. And he's very special to me because he always perseveres me out of bad situations, as well as the archangels. And so this is the wolf. And he's very special to me. He's my special guardian, and I love him. And he protects me. As well as the crow. As well as the Black Panther. And we're going to do this. We're going to call in our animal guides now. And I want to tap on some glass. Spirit animal guardians of the animal totem realm, come to us now. Black Panther, wolf, mammals, whales, dolphins, insects, dragonflies, more animals, cheetah, leopard, cat, dog, and I want you to really just take them in and see them in your third eye. I want you to see them protecting you. Dragons, dragon mothers on Sirius and in Pleiades, Pegasus guides, Atlantean guides, fairy elementals from the elven realms, from Mother Gaia. Elementals are nature spirits like fairies. Fairies are very important, and they're not just fantasy. This is from my soul, and this is from my past lives and my spiritual involvement, and I know this. I had a past life on Venus, and I worked very closely with the Venusian Fae, the fairies on that planet. And the same fairies have incarnated on Earth, to where the fairies, they're nature's elementals and their gifts. They're the angels of the trees, just like the elves, the elven realms. and their Mother Gaia's beautiful gifts. And every time you're by a tree or a flower, you can just talk to the plants. If you can't talk to anyone else, if the humans misconstrue your words, or if they, they have you in this projected falsehood that is not you, and you feel so many hooks of, that's not me, that's just what you heard about me. Just because they said this, it doesn't mean it's true, it's just a rumor. And that could really mess with your head and your reputation. So we want to call our guardians, our spirit guardians, and we want to ask them for protection. And I actually want to cut some cords, but I want you to see this first. So like what I wanted to say and my spirit guides wanted to say was the archons, in the government. So there's Bohemian Grove. It's disgusting. Look that up. It's these leaders, the Reptilians and the Archon leaders, and the Alpha Dracos, the Alpha Draconians. They have this agenda that's opposite of angelics, that's opposite of star seeds of Lemuria, Atlantis, Pleiades, and Orion. Is, they are all about greed and hatred and power and control and selfishness and ego tied to greed and just everything. All those, falsehoods trying to make you grind in your 9 to 5 or 3 to 11 so they can, tell you what to do, and they can sit up on their high horses and their pedestals, and they can plan these nefarious plans that will just ultimately be just so archonic to where it will be the downfall of mankind. And they have these drones underground, as well as that shoot up into the sky. And you could see these drones on Destination Parkway, and they have just pollutants in our waters, and the foods like the pink slime in McDonald's, or the Taco Bell meat, to put these parasites in your being so you can be like them, archonic, robotic, and go with the sheep. You know what I mean? And you have your own gifts and your own talents, and you have your own true potential. You don't have to go with the flow. Whether you like to sing, dance, paint, do clay, if you're an artist, a guitarist, anything, a pianist, or even if you're none of that and you have your own gifts, I want you to know to be true to yourself, because you always will return to your original form, no matter how much with the flow you go or how hard you try to fit in. And I just want to say, don't laugh at the expense of others just because they're going through a hard time. Don't let it be your entertainment, because you never know what that person could be going through emotionally, mentally, or on a spiritual level. But the archons, they will try to carefully energy vampire and just manipulate you and their perceptions of you to the masses. So like in the plaza, when I was targeted, they were all working together, all the archons in the 9 to 5, and I was getting made fun of, and it was an awful feeling because I was going through so much from all the attacks that I previously went through, and I was just trying to vibe from my authentic truth. And I was getting attacked. They were putting GHB, like I said, in my pancakes and the bacon, and just bringing me foods to my car and giving it to my children, to the point where my daughters started getting attacked and influenced by these pollutants. And that's why I pick up these EMF with the copper coils, because they hate this. This defies the archons, okay? What I'm trying to say is, okay, glitch in the matrix. So my spirit guide's talking about how the archons try to make you do your 9 to 5s to distract you also from the ultimate downfall and the nefarious plans of the leaders and the Freemasons, as well as the Illuminati or Bohemian Grove. And these archons in human bodies, they're actual spirits, like reptilian lizard spirits in human bodies. And those were the types that were targeting me in the plaza, and they were coming from all the pollutants that the government puts into our foods and our water. So I stepped into a retention pond, and it was, this woman told me previously that she had picked me up, and she had said that, have you seen the news? Trump, they're murdering immigrants, and I thought you were an immigrant from far, but you're very attractive and beautiful. I see you're not now. She said, but they are murdering bodies, and they're chopping them up, and they're throwing them into the retention ponds. And then when I was walking, I stepped into the water, and to the point where, they had the smell coming from McDonald's, that same smell from that water that I stepped in. It's the same smell. They were putting something in the McDonald's food outside of the Walmart. So don't ever eat at that McDonald's and don't ever eat at that Panda Express, because that same sewage, when you go into it's like the same water smell that they were putting there. It's something in the water and the food there. And I must awaken the masses about this. And so when I would walk, from John Young Parkway to Destination Parkway, up the bridge, there was this bridge by Hilton and Holiday Inn, and there was this smell. And then there was, once you go up there, and you pass Shingle Creek and you go up the bridge, to the left, coming from John Young and Destination, to the left, there's this plant, this government plant of water, and there's a crocodile under the lake, and the homeless people were being affected by it. It would make them go crazy. And I'm talking about, there was workers in that McDonald's from Jamaica, Haitian, and African American workers, and there were females, and they were putting some sort of powders that was, and also some sort of ingredient in the foods in that McDonald's. So don't ever eat at that McDonald's, because it started shaping everyone to act the same, which was very robotic, and just going with the masses, and just treating just being like a robot mannequin statue, and whatever people heard, and they were just acting the same, and just, it was just very bad. So don't ever eat there if you are in John Young and Sand Lake Road. And then there was also gangs who were trying to, they would follow me in their trucks, and I was trying to just sit away, at the Wawa, or, go into the trees, into the forest, to go, at first, of course, take nature photography, and then take my friend out there. And we had a lot of fun. We were both free spirits at the time, who ended up helping me a little bit. And we met up another time after, but aside from him, he left. And then he was very free spirited as well. But then her past tried to come and haunt her by trying to suck her in, and it was awful. So I'm trying to heal from all of this, and I'm going to be lighting some of this beautiful, it's not hyacinth or hydrangea, what is this called? The roses and the hibiscus dried flowers that I got from Fancy Fruit, which is one of my favorite markets for eucalyptus and star anise and cinnamon sticks. I am a healer, so I'm still trying to transmute what happened to this physical vessel in this, the trauma from that plaza. There's a lot of darkness in that plaza, and everyone acts the same or goes along with something. And there's reptilians in the cops and in certain coaches there, and it's very influential. And the owner of McDonald's, she had said, she's also a reptilian archon, that I was sharp. She knew. She was like, she's sharp. She knew my gifts, and she knew my power. And all of those archonic influences made me go into a goddess rage. And it started making me act out of character, but it never made me act like them. I was different, and I stood out, and I stood up for myself. And although I was trying to cry and call for help, I'm just grateful for the lessons that I've learned while I was there and the connections and the people that I met. Certain connections stuck. So Arnaldo, if you're watching, thank you for helping me with my Waterloo grape one day when I was going through it. I appreciate you. Leo, thank you for your pretty face and for always being so beautiful to look at and being the finest eye candy out in that plaza. That's what I see you as. Thank you also for coming to Marathon and coming to my car, and when I told you that you looked really good that day, I meant it. And I just want to say that I'm grateful for all of my lessons on my journey, and I was genuine, and I want to tell the others that I was genuine. And if I said anything to act out of character, it was the GHP from those pancakes. Because I would go into some full-fledged goddess rages. And the undercover crooked cop asked me, oh, didn't you eat those pancakes? You didn't sleep, did you? And they were investigating me, which tied back into my own blood family trying to take me down and tried to separate my children from me, from whatever nefarious plans they had, and because they wanted me to go into the Matrix. And with my spiritual involvement and my gifts, I cannot go into the Matrix right now. So I just want to say, even though I'm not going back there, I just want to say that I'm grateful for the help that I did receive while I was there. From Marie in Walmart, she was very nice. But to the Walmart associates who would slam the bathroom doors and who would laugh at me with the team leads and make fun of me, that was not cool. Because I was really going through it and I was getting attacked, and I was trying to tell you what I was going through. And I guess, yeah, you didn't care and you just kept targeting me. And then it was from that gay guy in Walmart that stomped me off and said, nobody wants you. That wasn't funny, because that's after Jamin had stealthed me, which I did not give him permission to do that. And I would have never done you like that, Leo. So this is just a message. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank you for existing on planet Earth. And I want to thank you for being the embodiment of love, and for allowing me to open up and share my gifts and share my traumas and my story so it could better help you and help you understand to never target someone, because you never know what they're going through in their personal life or their emotional health or their spiritual health or their mental health. Blessed be.